your independence up your ass. You can stick your independence up your ass. You can stick your independence, stick your independence up your ass. Rule Britannia, you fucking bastards. Rule fucking Britannia. We rule the fucking way.
Camden. Hey, hello.
We are the people.
It'll happen anyway.
We are the people. Gives you a reason why you don't like the Queen. Why no?
I don't know, just that she doesn't really affect my life.
She brings £20 million in tourism money, right?
Yeah,
See if she never brought that tourism money in.
Yeah.
This country would be fucked, mate.
Yeah.
We'd be fucking living on fucking £10 gyros, mate.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? You'll fucking go like Dublin.
Yeah.
You'll go like Dublin, mate.
You go down the pan.
Right? See, here, mate, take a camera to Ireland. See every cunt in Ireland, they're fucking living on the streets, mate. They're living on the streets because they're fucking skint. See my first move? If Scotland go independent, mate, my first stop is England. See, honestly, mate, see your first stop, go to Wales.
I would go
mate, go to Wales.
England.
Go to Wales
Wales
because see, no, mate, go to Wales because see England just let all the fucking immigrants in, right?
Hey, we'll
Just, mate, go to Wales, right?
Good afternoon. We're down in Selkirk and I'm talking to Alan Beattie. Am I right? Alan, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm 70 years old. I'm a demolition contractor. I've done it all my life. I've driven diggers since I left the school. Okay. And that's virtually it.
So you've worked all your life.
I have.
And now you're facing the prospect of Scotland becoming independent in a few days' time. How does that hit with you?
I'm horrified. Really horrified. Yeah. Frightened.
Could you explain why?
I just think we're far better to be together, stronger together. We're far too late to think about independence. Far too late. The good days have gone.
Some of the arguments being put forward.
I honestly don't think that Europe will ever forgive the Scotsmen if they vote for independence, because this will go right through Europe, and we'll be the ones that will be carrying the can for it.
And that includes Northern Ireland.
That includes Northern Ireland.
They're singing "God Save the Queen."
Yes.
What do you think? Do you think that this is the death of the Union?
No, this is a national anthem. That is a union. We don't want the death of a union. We go independent, but as well immigrating.
Nicola will have that story. Welcome to the final part of the show with Paul, Nicola and Carol. Stories of the day. And let's just go on this. This is Gordon Brown, the former Prime Minister, just jumping up and giving a warning about Boris becoming Prime Minister, saying the UK could split. Paul, what do you think? I mean, that would hurt the Queen.
I hope not. I hope not, because the United Kingdom should remain together. This is food for Nicola Sturgeon, isn't it? I mean, she would love to read this morning, saying that Scotland will have devolution. But I think that the United Kingdom is stronger together than they are apart. I mean, for goodness sakes, Scotland by itself, how's it going to survive? It has, what does it have?
Well,
what natural resources? Oil.
The oil.
And a monster in a lake.
Loch Ness.
Yeah. And...
I don't know, I'm just...
And whiskey.
Iron brew. It's got iron brew.
Hang on.
That really only sells in Scotland,
I heard,
to be fair.
is there a Scottish... I'm not going to bring you in on this. I know you're impartial
Tartan.
on this. Is there someone in the audience from Scotland who can defend this?
Yes.
Who says Scotland can survive on its own? Do we have anyone there? Andrew Edwards, do you think Scotland can survive on its own?
No.
All right. Does anyone... I don't want them to... Scottish... We have so many Scottish guests and so...
No.
What do you think?
I
What's
think
the
we've
argument
fallen
against?
into a danger zone there.
It is danger zone, but it would
Well,
hurt
it's
the
not
Queen.
a danger zone. It needs to be discussed.
No,
It's
you're right.
important.
It would hurt the Queen because she is her.
Which way you're going to vote yet?
Yes.
You're going to vote yes, or you've decided?
No, I'm not going to vote yes. Of course not. I'm not that soft.
I might get my friends giving me a bit of backlash here, but I'm quite happy with the way the country is just now. I don't see that there's anything wrong with that at all, so more than happy just to stick with it, I think.
It would be great if we could get a lot more Scottish power, you know, a lot more decisions that we could make in Scotland. But I really don't think we should sort of split from Britain, you know.
Potential purposes. Do you have a view on independence?
Independence?
And the referendum coming up. That's why we're here, to have a chat to people. No, and I'd admire the lobster as well, which are fantastic. Make me feel hungry.
No, I'm anti-independence.
You're
Stay
not
with the Union.
Oh, thank heavens for that.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you.
It's pointless.
I think the English need you. I wondered if you had a view, sir, which you could shout up to us.
My view is stay in the United Kingdom.
Thank heavens for that.
Now, while the political calls were for Scotland to unite, 6 people were arrested in Scotland last night in Glasgow amid trouble between nationalists and unionists. Police moved in to separate the crowds in George Square, but as our chief correspondent Alex Thompson reports, clashes have raised questions about whether old sectarian divisions in Glasgow could flare up after the referendum campaign.
6:30 last night and hundreds of loyalists charge into George Square. Trying to get at independent supporters who had lit flares already. Police eventually got between the two. Rangers supporters groups like the Vanguard Bears had called on people to come to the square at 6:30 last night to celebrate Scotland remaining in the Union. In truth, it was noisy rather than troublesome at this stage, though police soon deployed horses and made one arrest, apparently an independent supporter.
Where is it?
As it grew dark, several hundred of them charged off into surrounding streets.
Don't run! Don't run! Just walk!
People with pro-independence badges were assaulted. Flares were lobbed at the police at several locations. Some wore masks. Some made what seemed to be Nazi salutes or Red Hand of Ulster gestures, depending on your point of view. Disruptive at times, anti-Catholic at times, but a riot? Hardly. Just 6 arrests over several hours, no serious injuries, and all handled with intelligence by the Glasgow police force. Well, let's just say they have a lot of experience of this kind of thing.
So your accent is really impressive. So where exactly are you from?
Well, I'm from Scotland, but my accent isn't a Glaswegian accent, even though I'm from Glasgow. I grew up outside of Glasgow a little bit, but my mum was a drama student and a drama teacher, and she told me one of the most important things is to be able to tone down your accent. However, I'm from Glasgow, Maryhill, and if you know Scotland at all, you'll know that Maryhill is, well, it's considered to be a bit rough. Go to Maryhill with 4 tyres on your car, park your car, go into the shop, come out with, you know, you've got no tyres on your car.
Once Scotland is independent, it has its own future in its hands. No, when it is, it's a matter of time.
No, absolutely if. I've no interest in independence, and I'm really glad they voted against it. But it was a silent majority. Most of us didn't want to speak up in case we, well, because you just get a tirade of abuse.
At the time we lost the vote, I was quite happy to leave it 5-10 years until the Scottish population moved again towards independence, so there was no immediate rush to have one. But the thing of being taken out of the EU against the wishes of the Scottish people, who voted 62% for staying in the EU, meant that the independence vote should happen again.
Do you want a second referendum?
I didn't want Brexit, and I certainly don't want a second referendum. We've already voted. We voted to stay. That's it. And because the politicians are very loud and it's the ticket that they've been running with, they can't exactly put it down, because what's the point of the SNP if they don't have independence?
Who do you believe, which political party do you believe will safeguard the Union?
Tory, definitely. I love being part of the UK. I would hate to separate from the UK.
I'm quite happy to be part of the British Isles, just not the UK.
Well, you hadn't really got the choice unless you got a really big hammer drill.
Scotland cannot be independent. I say no.
Well, you can say no if you want, it's your choice.
I'm an independent Scottish person, right? No, we cannot go independent. We cannot have sheep, whiskey, Highland spring water. It's not enough to run a country. Scotland does not exist on its own.
I'm quite wary of the independence campaign. I've just no idea where all this money is going to come from. I certainly pay enough taxes and everything in VAT, but I have no idea where the money's going to come from for the military, for the education, for the health service, everything. So I'm a little bit wary.
does he truly believe withholding the sovereign right of the Scottish people is a sustainable position going forward? And while protecting the sovereignty of the UK, is he prepared to deny the sovereignty of Scotland?
Well, I know that it is the case that the Scottish Nationalist Party will always... I don't know why... I'm sorry, facts are shields that win a ding, as Robert Burns said. I'm afraid the representatives on that bench are nationalists. They are nationalists. They put the separation of the smashing up of the United Kingdom ahead of anything else. Some of them are personally decent and kind people, but I'm afraid they're nationalists. And the reason they object so much is that when the mask comes off and we recognise the ideological heart of the SNP, they didn't like it up 'em.
Does it make you feel proud to be British, proud to be part of the Union?
Yes, yes, it's extremely proud to be part of a union.
I'm asking that obviously.
Yes, I know the question. I know the question you're asking. Yes, and I've just answered your question. With.
So, will you be going to Bannockburn Live, do you think, or not?
No, no, I'll be spending all day here.
We're never going to join the English because we're bigoted bastards!
You don't represent Scotland. You don't represent us. You don't represent us.
Just to clarify one thing, would you be voting as Scottish MPs on every issue that some people now think affect only England?
Where issues are genuinely English-only issues, I think there is a very strong case for English votes for English laws. But, you know, there are some issues which are often characterised as English-only issues that are not really, because every time...
Where would your red line be? What would you count as something where you would not vote?
Well, I was going to give you an example in terms of why we would vote on some things like health, for example, because decisions that are taken about the English health service that affect the budget of the English health service have a direct knock-on effect
where would you
to
not
Scotland's
vote?
budget. Well, things that are purely...
Just one thing, give me one example.
You know, the fox hunting ban that was passed a while ago was only England. There will be other things that are only English-only votes, and we wouldn't vote on them. But, you know, surely people would understand that Scottish MPs have to vote to protect the budget that Scotland has, and that's what SNP MPs would do.
Michael has
English income tax. Look, we know Nicola has been very articulate on this subject. She says that if she was in, or Alex Salmond was in London, propping up Ed Balls and El Miliband, then she has said she will screw £180 billion out of the Labour government for her support. And that means, that's what she said, and that means that all of you as taxpayers are going to be paying that much more money, we'll have that much more debt, in order that Scotland can get even more money from the British and the English than they were already getting. That's what she said.
Come on. Norman Lamb. Norman Lamb. Briefly, if you would. We're coming to the end here. And we can debate this again and again, no doubt.
Self-evidently, a party that is intent on the break-up of the United Kingdom cannot, it seems to me, act in the interests of the United Kingdom. And the thought, therefore... And the thought, therefore, of the Scottish nationalists having an influence in the next Parliament or being part of the government, God forbid, absolutely horrifies me.
OK. And Duncan Valentine.
What was the question?
The question. I think we've all forgot the question. It's, will Scotland be ruling Westminster if there's a Labour minority government? Will the SNP, in effect, be ruling?
Well, I hope not. I hope we have one party to run this country and not a coalition again after the May elections. But I'd like to know what Nicola would do if Scotland has the right to vote on its income tax. Will it vote on English income tax?
If we had total control over income tax, but that's not what was being proposed. You know, things that impact in Scotland, then Scottish MPs, if what we were told during the referendum by politicians like these was true, that Scotland is a valued part of the UK, then surely we've got a right to vote in Westminster on things that affect our interests. And we need people there who are going to stand up and be strong, independent Scotland's interests.
How does English income tax levels affect Scotland?
Well, because we're not getting complete control over income tax in Scotland, so decisions that are taken on England, in England and Westminster on income tax affects the budget that Scotland's got.
I think it's just fox hunting.
All right. We've got to...
We would miss you if you went.
What's the big difference between... What is the difference between this independence?
Just that
what is
we'll
it
have our own
about?
country and be able to run it and that.
What is it? What is independence and what is that? I didn't get
It's because we're part of the UK, there's Wales, Scotland and England.
Well, they're trying to change your money now.
And the currency, they change your currency if you got independent.
What will our money change to?
Oh, I don't know. That'll have to be
decided
after.
Oh, no, so independence, you don't want that to happen.
No, I don't.
Nation is a common culture. It's people you feel an affinity with, you feel you have a common identity. And for me, my nation is Scotland. But I think that as part of this organisation, of part of the United Kingdom, it's actually an ideal scenario. Because I think if I was given a blank piece of paper now to draw up arrangements for our country, I think I might draw them up the way they are now.
Other people have said that women are more cautious than men. Would you say that's true?
It's a bit sexist, isn't it? Like, I don't know, no, I think men are proper more, I don't know, maybe men have got the kind of Braveheart face on and they're like, yes, like, we're men, we can take this. But women are kind of like, maybe need a bit of Cameron in there to help us out.
I'm not terribly sure who you are going to vote for.
Gordon Canning's a member of East Renfrewshire's Mearns Golf Academy. He used to vote Labour. But efforts by the Scottish Conservatives to ensure they are seen as the party most in favour of the union appear to have cut through. Could you ever bring yourself to vote for them?
Yeah.
Is that a difficult thing to say in Scotland?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult thing for someone who's never voted Tory before to say that they may vote for Tory. But yeah.
And what's that about? Why would you? Why might you?
Why might I? Because I want the SNP to be aware that there are a large number of people in Scotland who do not want another independence referendum. And the reasons for bringing it using Brexit as an excuse for another independence referendum, I think is unfair.
The Conservatives haven't necessarily been the most positive brand in Scotland for the last few decades. Do you think that's changing?
It is changing, yeah.
Why do you think it's changing?
Well, because Labour is no longer a credible opposition, and I think that's perhaps the main reason.
Which means people are more willing to vote Conservative?
Yes.
And have you ever voted Conservative before?
Once, probably 40 years ago, not here.
And how do you usually vote, if you don't mind my asking?
Lib Dem.
And will you vote for them this time?
No.
Why not?
Because I want to vote tactically to try and keep the SNP out.
I would like to say I want to be part of the United Kingdom. I'm British and I certainly do not want to be separated from the rest of the UK.